Good evening and a hearty welcome to Newshour. In this edition, Juma prayers held at State House in commemoration of the 58th Independence Celebration. PKF Mason Hill, Sierra Leone holds a session to discuss issues of economic empowerment of women. And Malaria Transport and Logistics updates the media on its port expansion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. These stories and more lined up in this edition of Newshour. With me, Alice Mayama Thompson. Stay with me. Welcome back. For our fourth story tonight, President Julius Maada has joined a Muslim congregation at State House to thank God for observing another Independence Day. Different Muslim groups and government officials participated in the Juma prayers and prayed for national development and the people of Sierra Leone. Our Mosiri reports.
The Juma prayer was officiated by the President of the United Council of Imams, Dr. Habib Sherif, who called on other Imams to be praying for God's intervention in Sierra Leone so that things will get better. The Juma prayers organized at State House was to pray for the country to regain its glory. President Julius Maada commended them for organizing the prayers, as prayer is very important in whatever citizens do in the country, adding that as the country observes another independence anniversary, there is the need for such prayers to turn things around for the nation. President Bio noted that he has started changing the image of the country during his visits to countries, where he also explained about the latest changes done so far by his administration.
Which of independence they will forget? Because when we answer them, we will make inside Roger or make to get the actual independence only.
The independence celebration for this year, he said, is going to be different because of what his government inherited, especially the battered economy. So many things have gone wrong for the past 10 years, which his government is working hard to put in place.
Anything we want to do, we have to ask other countries, we have to pay money for even take care of your country. So basically make independence actually will not get tired. The true work by the top. So as a nation, we need to rise up to that occasion. And at least we don't begin set a pace. We don't begin to change that bad image we get overseas. And we need to work harder inside the country to make them respectfully how we do things.
President Bio called on the Imams to continue to pray for the country, for things to become better for every citizen, as Sierra Leone is among other countries that are being recognized for religious tolerance. Sheikh Mohammed Fombaswa recommended President Bio for his intervention in terms of putting different strategies in place in running the affairs of the country, especially supporting institutions in the fight against corruption and working towards developmental projects across the country. Sheikh Swari recalled that the last time things were very simple for Sierra Leoneans to travel to Mecca to perform the Hajj. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, how must we reporting?
Sierra Leone and Guinea have agreed to establish a permanent joint commission. The decision was reached after a series of engagements held in Conakry, Guinea, between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Sierra Leone, Dr. Ali Kaba, and the President of Guinea, Professor Alpha Conde. The Minister of Foreign Affairs was in Guinea on a 2-day visit to address the impasse at Yenga. Rose Stevens reports.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Ali Kaba, extended felicitations from President Julius Maada Bio, whom he indicated considered the planned events in Guinea as laudable to further strengthen the already existing ties between both countries. He noted that the new direction administration is determined to ensure that the historically warm and friendly ties continue to flourish between the countries and their people. Dr. Ali Kaba, however, reiterated that to further strengthen the family ties and bonds, concerns about reports of land and maritime encroachments at points along the Sierra Leone-Guinea border are to be resolved, stressing the pre-existing impasse of Yenga, and delivered a letter from President Julius Maada Bio to President Alpha Conde, in which the said concerns were outlined. Dr. Kaba acknowledged the relationship between the two countries, which he said runs very deep, noting that it is firm with ethnic, religious, social, economic connections, thereby the need to take concrete actions through increased sensitization, coexistence, and address border disputes, as well as engage in economic ties for mutual benefits. Both parties agreed to establish a permanent joint commission of cooperation, which will serve as a sustained framework to deepen mutually beneficial economic ties and also provide a vehicle to address problems within the context of a special relationship and proximity between the two countries. The minister raised concerns about the premature seizure of a Sierra Leone-operated fishing boat and the subsequent levying of a substantive punitive fine on the part of Guinean officials. To enhance the free flow of movements and greater people-to-people exchanges, Dr. Ali Kaba also disclosed government's commitment in ensuring free movement of the respective government buses across both countries and agreed that action be taken to ensure their smooth operations. President Alpha Conde noted the significance of peace and stability within countries and that leadership should work hard to sustain both countries for the good of their citizens. He called on Sierra Leone and other countries in the Mano River Union to work together to deepen and strengthen the ties in the region and the African continent in general, including support to the establishment of a sub-regional airline. Dr. Ali Kaba extended an open invitation to the Guinean authorities to visit Sierra Leone so that the Permanent Joint Commission could be launched as a matter of urgency, as was agreed by both parties. For SLBC News, Rose Stevens reporting.
Malaria Transport and Logistics has updated the media on its port expansion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. Malaria entered into an agreement with the government of Sierra Leone to expand the port, operate it, and later return it to the government. Asmiba was there.
Sierra Leone is known to have one of the best harbors in Africa, but its size has been a key challenge, the reason it has not been attracting many bigger ships. This port expansion has now made the port to attract more ships and a space to keep huge cargo of containers. It has also increased the volume of containers that a ship discharges per hour. It is a surprise to many that this company has been in Sierra Leone since 1965. Country Manager, Bolori Transport Logistics Captain Fabanjko Kokan told newsmen that Bolori operates in 104 countries and 45 of those countries are in Africa. Captain Kokan spoke of their mega projects in Ivory Coast and Ghana and their port expansion in Sierra Leone, which began in 2016. The Sierra Leone port expansion, according to Captain Kokan, cost the company $121 million United States dollars.
No one company can be successful without people. One of our main target was always to increase the human capital.
Human Resource Manager, Bolori Transport and Logistics, Chlorina Morgan said the company has 402 staff, many of whom have undergone trainings overseas. On the issue of capacitating locals to take over from expatriates, Madam Morgan said the company had 13 expatriates, but gradually they have been phased out, leaving only 5. Communications officer Gassimu Fofana said the company has embarked on tangible community development projects that have helped the surrounding communities. Their interventions, according to Mr. Fofana, range from scholarships to the building of community center at Moaf and the rehabilitation of the Ross Road police station, among others. On the conducted tour of the extended ports, journalists were shown some of the newly installed ship-to-shore cranes, which have made work easier and faster. Well, I'm standing on top of one of the ship-to-shore cranes. They have 2 of these cranes here. The height of this one is more than 100 meters long. That's where I'm standing on top of it now. I can also tell you that more than half of this is also on top of me. This is one of the newly installed cranes that Bolori has installed to ensure that the clearing of containers from the ports becomes easier. According to the information I have gathered, this crane discharges 45 container per hour. The target for 2019 is going to be 50 containers per hour. Once that is reached, it's going to ensure that the issue of clearing containers from the port becomes easier for business people. According to the container terminal manager Abubakar Sise, the new facilities have improved the operations of the port. He said the current space can accommodate 3,780 containers. For now, according to him, they are discharging 42 containers per hour, and their target is 50 by the end of 2019. As the country is gradually opening up for business, the key infrastructure in Sierra Leone is to attract more foreign direct investments. Bolori is going to be in charge of this facility for the next plus 20 years, while government is having 20% shares of the company's investment. For SLBC News,
Members of Parliament of the opposition All People's Congress Party, headed by the leader Honorable Chenaba, have provided relief items to victims of the fire disaster at Krube community. Assorted items were given to the victims as a show of solidarity to them. Ibrahim Samura reports.
Krube is one of the slum communities in the municipality, which has suffered several shocks and disasters ranging from flooding, rising sea level and fire outbreaks. Just a few weeks ago, the Krube community was again engulfed by another fire disaster, leaving properties worth hundreds of millions of leones destroyed. Since the fire outbreak, this is the 4th time the opposition APC has rendered a helping hand to these fire victims. The relief items were provided by APC MPs. Leader of the APC party in Parliament, Honorable Chernoba, said the gesture was to show the party's solidarity to the fire victims. Honorable Chernoba consoled the victims, noting that just after the incident, the party visited the community and donated learning materials to the children, also citing donations by the Stay Red movement and the national executive of the APC party. Honorable Ba admonished parents to send their children to school, especially the girl child, and take advantage of the free quality education scheme.
Today we went as APC caucus. We went there as a caucus, and the reasons are very simple. One is to continue to confirm that we sympathize and have the same feeling that others should have for those who are vulnerable. But secondly also, the holidays are around. The Easter really has just passed, the independence is coming up, so we thought it wise that it would be good for us to send food items for these people so that they will have something to share whilst the holiday period is on.
Other members of parliament, including Honorable Alusen Alukonte of Constituency 125, said they wanted to show love and to help ease the sufferings of the people. The lawmakers assured the victims of APC's support at all times. Beneficiaries appreciated the APC parliamentarians for always thinking of them, especially at a difficult time. According to them, the relief items came at the most needed time, especially on the eve of the independence celebration. The parliamentarians were taken on a conducted tour of the burnt houses. Many of these houses have been rebuilt by humanitarian aid. Ibrahim Samora, Freetown.
The PKF Mason Hill, Sierra Leone has held a session to discuss issues of economic empowerment of women on the theme, Merging of the Minds, Leadership and Influence through Economic Empowerment. The forum, which was held at the Hub Hotel Wilberforce, brought together influential women from the political and socio-economic fields. The platform was also meant to motivate other young women to do more. Joseph Toure witnessed the ceremony and now reports.
Women constitute 52% of the country's population according to 2015 census, though some significant results have been achieved in women attaining senior positions in governance, yet the area of economic independence has been a challenge. This platform was an opportunity to these women to share their experiences on various fields including business, politics and other related spheres. They noted women should be ready to fit themselves to compete with men in their workplace and business. Various speakers also identified that they need to engage in continuous learning to upgrade themselves to the contemporary trend. Numbers they registered should not override quality, as that will make the difference wherever they find themselves. They called women present to support one another, as that, they stressed, has limited them over the years. Madonna Thompson is the coordinator of PKF Mason Hill, Sierra Leone. She underscored the importance of the program.
We are moving from the challenges now into solutions. We don't even want to hear about the challenges. We're just getting together, doing a roadmap from this, putting action plans together, and actually taking action. And not only reaching out to the urban areas as well, but also to the rural as well, because as has been said by some of the panelists and some of the guests, is that there are also a lot of economic empowerment that needs to be done with young women and girls, also in the rural areas as well.
The ultimate concern is to see these fantastic ideas being put into action. Joseph Toure, SLBC, Freetown.
National President of the Temne Development Council, Issa Muhammad Katko Kamara, has called on all tribes to be united for the development of the country. He made this call after the Friday Juma prayers at the Masjid Muhajirin Mosque at Bassa Town in Waterloo. Francis Denema reports.
Even though the country has not recorded any major incidents of tribal conflicts, it was quite evident that the country was divided on tribal lines during the 2018 elections. Issa Muhammad Katko Kamara started a campaign to unite the tribes in the country immediately after the 2018 elections. His efforts led to the formation of the United National Community Development Association that comprises different tribes. Representatives of the 16 tribes present spoke about the need for unity among all tribes. Public Relations Officer, Council of Tribal Heads, Western Area, Kande Kamara said all the tribal heads present agreed that Issa Katko Kamara should head them because of his efforts in uniting all the tribes in the country. Speakers from the community stressed that the community is underdeveloped and needs basic amenities like health care, and that they need more support for Muslims in the community. Addressing the community people at Bassa Town, the National President, Temne Development Council, Issa Muhammad Katko Kamara, thanked Sierra Leoneans for maintaining peace after the electioneering process. He said they should all realize that they are Sierra Leoneans and should avoid tribalism for the sake of peace. He called on them to pray for the current government to succeed so that their demands would be met. He said Allah instructed all Muslims to pray for their leaders even if they did not vote for them. He assured them of his support for Laila too. SLBC News, Francis Ndanema reporting.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Professor Alpha Tijanwari, has launched the Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy. This was in observance of the World Malaria Day. The luncheon took place at the hockey pitch, Wilberforce. Daphne Kimamakwali reports.
Malaria has been described by many as one of the most common and deadly diseases in the world. According to statistics from the United Nations, almost half of the world's population are at risk to the disease, and that almost 2/3 of the people that died of malaria were children under 5 years. The United Nations set aside 25th April as World Malaria Day. This is to give special attention to the fight against the disease and intensify the efforts by partners. The theme for this year is Zero Malaria Starts With Me. The Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy is to map out ways to intensify the fight against the disease in Sierra Leone.
On behalf of His Excellency Brigadier Retired Julius Maada Bio, I now officially launch Malaria Social Behavior Change Communication Strategy.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Professor Alpha Wuri, said the war against malaria cannot be fought by the Ministry of Health alone, but also with efforts of partners. He observed that women are important in the fight and that it is vital to seek medical attention in time. He encouraged people to be hygienic and emphasized that the treatment for malaria is free in all government hospitals. The United States Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Maria Brewer, said the United States is proud to recognize the partnership it has with the government of Sierra Leone in the fight against malaria. She said the U.S. government saved more than 7 million lives in 2000, adding that this year's theme is in recognition of the fight against the deadly disease.
We know that fighting malaria together makes us more effective and achieves a greater impact than any of us could do alone. Countries are best positioned to beat malaria with strong partnerships behind them. American partnership, including technical and financial commitment through the U.S. President's Malaria Initiative, or PMI, as well as the U.S. contribution to the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria.
Head of China Center for Disease Control, Professor Khan, said China is ready to assist the government of Sierra Leone to fight malaria, adding that China is willing to do all it could to control the disease in their own way. Director of National Malaria Control Program, Ministry of Health, Dr. Joanna Smith, said so far there has been 40% reduction in the death rate, but emphasized that there is need for scaling up of efforts in the fight. A representative of the Freetown City Council and Councillor of Ward 437 Wilberforce, Amnata Sise, said the fight against malaria starts with proper hygiene programs, which she said is why the FTC is scaling up efforts to clean the Freetown municipality. For SLBC News, Daphne Kimamakwali reporting.
President Julius Maada Bio has said that his government added $900,000 United States dollars to the remaining $1.5 million in order to meet the construction cost of the $2.4 million bridge at Lumley. This President's Bio noted was to ensure that locals were employed as part of the workforce. He made the statement during the opening of the Simba Pier Memorial Bridge. Hawa Masire reports.
Less than 6 months ago, the President commissioned the start of the work on this bridge. He told the audience that there was a time when road projects were exorbitantly costed, poorly planned, poorly coordinated, and never completed on time, as those in charge then cut corners and pocketed millions of dollars from those roads construction contracts. President Julius Maada Bio highlighted that the last government allocated $4.4 million for the construction of the bridge over an 18-month period, and they were in power for 11 years but never built a bridge in Lumley. The president said the people of Sierra Leone deserve to know what happened to the $4.4 million allocation.
There should have been a second bridge several years ago as part of the original Lumley-Toke Peninsula project funded by our development partners. The last government allocated $4.4 million for the construction of this bridge over an 18-month period. They were in power for 11 years, but they never built this bridge. The people of Sierra Leone deserve to know what happened to the $4.4 million. I promise the people of Sierra Leone that under the New Direction government, we will deliver purposeful and well thought out infrastructure projects that are affordable by this country, transparently well managed, and purposefully designed to serve the inclusive needs of all Sierra Leoneans.
The president acknowledged that what the project demonstrates is very simple, that his government can build bridges and roads that meet international standards faster, better, and for less money, adding that they can also do infrastructural development without officials stealing millions of dollars meant for the project.
My government maintains a long-term and holistic approach to infrastructural development. So in addition to the bridge, my government deems it necessary to build a bigger and more conveniently located market and transportation interchange for minibuses, taxis, and other commercial vehicles. We also intend to build a connected pedestrian flyover across this road so that commuters can walk across the road safely to the market and to the transportation interchange. The Office of Presidential Infrastructure Initiative has undertaken comprehensive assessment and planning. Once we finalize discussions about financing sources, work will commence immediately.
President Julius Maada Bio told the audience that his administration maintains a long-term and historic approach to infrastructural development, and in addition to the Sengbepia Memorial Bridge, his administration deems it necessary to build a bigger and more conveniently located market and a transportation interchange for minibuses, taxis, and other commercial vehicles.
As we aspire towards the values of leadership with integrity and persistence, it is but fitting that we formally commission this bridge after a national hero who resisted slavery, stood up for justice, and returned to make the lives of his compatriots even better. With that, I formally commissioned this bridge, the Sengbepia Memorial Bridge.
The project was directly monitored by the Ministry of Works and Public Access and the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, according to the Minister, Raymond de Souza George. The project was launched in November last year, and they are now assembled to commission it. The benefits of the first-class bridge in the country cannot be overemphasized, and the heavy traffic on the community will now be less easy and accessible. He said the community appreciates the People's Republic of China for their support.
In making the deeper west of the western area more easily accessible, this bridge is also a key to unlocking the enormous potential of a continuously growing city. As I express our appreciation to the government and people of China, the SLR, the contractors whose tireless efforts have resulted in the successful completion of this project.
Chinese Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Hun Zhenling, disclosed that the construction of the second Juba Bridge is an important decision made by the government of Sierra Leone, especially President Julius Maada Bio, to break the traffic bottleneck in Freetown and improve the people's quality of life. He said on the request of the government of Sierra Leone, the Chinese government made special arrangements and provided urgent assistance to co-fund the construction of the bridge together with the government of Sierra Leone. Chairman Infrastructural Initiative, Dr. John Tabi, stated that the New Direction government believes in putting Sierra Leone and the welfare of the people first, irrespective of tribe and religion. The bridge, he said, was constructed in 5 months, adding that the old ways of doing construction are gone, commending President Bio for initiating the Infrastructure Office to improve development.
We believe in Sierra Leone, and we believe in the people of Sierra Leone, and we believe that however Sierra Leone will be better. And we believe by this evidence that Salon can be better. However, for Salon to better, we need to come together. We need to work together in peace, love, and in conviction and commitment to the vision to transform our nation.
The Director General of SLRA, Amarakane, noted that when the president took office, his main agenda was to fight against corruption, poverty and lawlessness, and this is what he has demonstrated in the construction of the Sembepie Bridge. So many lessons, he said, have been learned during this construction period, commending People's Republic of China for the quick intervention. A documentation was also signed by the Chinese ambassador and the chairman of infrastructure for the completion of the project. In another development, President Bill signed the Book of Condolence for Honorable Momodu Eskimo Mansari of Constituency 043. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hawamosiri reporting.
Residents of Lumley have raised concerns that the newly extended Sembepie Memorial Bridge might be misused by squatters and traders. They are also worried that the frequent depositing and burning of garbage under the bridge will affect it. Soiba Samuel has been finding out.
The Juba Bridge, as it was always known, is now 4-lane. It has been serving Lumley, Juba and other communities in the Western Rural District. The transformation through has not only brought smiles to the people in that community, but also raised eyebrows of potential threats to the development of the additional 2 lanes. According to a resident of Lumley, Amara Ansumana, the biggest worry and a serious threat to the span of the bridge is the ongoing burning of garbage under it. For him, the responsibility lies squarely on Freetown City Council, especially the Metropolitan Police, to make sure that traders don't sell or display wares on the bridge, and also to stop people from depositing rubbish under it. According to the Metropolitan Police Commander of the Western Division, ASP Philip Dalton Taylor, they will enforce all the laid down laws governing the municipality to safeguard the bridge from misuse.
People have been depositing garbage, but because of our presence here now, that one has been combated. We are now chasing others to see how best they can evacuate from the bridge. So I think our presence here has served a lot.
He pointed out that the location of their office near the bridge means they will have access to the bridge and monitor human activities around it. The chairman of the Western Area Tricycle Riders Union, Isiaka Kuruma, said the bridge was a halt point for vehicles plying the route to and from Juba and Godrich. When the bridge was 1 lane, he said, some fatal accidents happened frequently. Mr. Kuruma believes that since people will no longer work in the middle of the bridge, accidents will be minimal. But can the creation of this 4-lane traffic bridge totally ease the traffic congestion in Lumley?
Really, we will talk to our members and to see that we use this road wisely and to be careful. Not even here, all area when they are riding, to be very cautious. We have our monitoring team, we have our task force, where initially we will start, newly we will start, so that we can direct people, and also the rider, we can educate them to see that they use this bridge properly and with the proper use.
With this new Juba to Aberdeen bypass, many people believe it will ease the traffic. Soriba Samura, Freetown.
The Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusu-Safa, has informed the insurance industry that government will not monopolize the industry, even though they provide great support to the state. He made the statement whilst opening the 31st Annual General Meeting and Education Conference of the West African Insurance Companies Association at the Golden Tulip Kimbima Essential Hotel, Aberdeen. The conference targeted over 100 international participants from the Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Guinea, Togo, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, the UK, and Switzerland.
The theme for the conference, Insurance Production, Distribution and Marketing in a Challenging and Competitive Economy. It targeted over 100 international participants from the Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Guinea, Togo, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, the UK, and Switzerland. The conference is being hosted by the Sierra Leone Insurance Association with support from other partners. WICA was established to encourage the development of the insurance market in each member country. Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusuf Safar, said it is imperative that Africans pay attention to the insurance market as it stabilizes the local economy. He added that there is relevant evidence that the development of inclusive insurance market contributes to the economy and social development of a nation. He said it is necessary to improve product quality, widely expand an available supply, noting that once it reaches a competitive stage with quality products and significant stage, commercial insurance and reinsurance begin to make profits while providing relevant cover to better value to the population.
But smart as we are, you engage the questions after you have started school parliament. And the guys have some emotions. So I have to say back, I didn't find some. But I need to play. But not fighting back. I'm not doing that first president, but it was the beginning of my interaction with insurance players. But anyway, that was not to see European policy. We cannot mobilize insurance as governments within the context of policy development. Whilst we give all the support to the state-owned insurance company, we also employ the private sector and also employ to compete. And that's happening in other industries as well. While they have shared, they have other companies also providing information services.
Mr. Safar challenged the insurance industry to come up with specific insurance policy proposals for consideration tailored to meet the needs of the market. He encouraged them to create a platform where they will discuss issues that will make the industry to grow. The president of West African Insurance Companies Association, Makare Banjan, said WICA, established some 46 years ago, continues to yield high attainments in the sub-region insurance industry and indirectly their economies through the promoting and fostering cooperation and collaboration among members. He added that they remain committed to ensuring that insurance plays a pivotal role in the socio-economic development of their countries. Mr. Bajan informed the gathering that they have introduced forum for young professionals in the industry to give them the platform to voice out their views and concerns. He said in fostering sub-regional collaboration and strengthening capacity, they have established an insurance institute to build the capacity of insurance practitioners. The president of the Sierra Leone Insurance Association, Raymond Macaulay, said the theme, Insurance Production, Distribution and Marketing in a Challenging and Competitive Economy, is timely and appropriate at a time when the global insurance industry is undergoing transformation in technology, changing customers' needs, product development and cybersecurity, among others. The Commissioner of Insurance, Nathaniel Athoyaski, said in recent years they have witnessed a significant increase in the insurance regulations in the sub-region. He said Sierra Leone insurance market has worked with the Commission towards the inclusion of insurance in the curriculum of junior secondary schools to catch the children at a very young age. Mr. Yaski informed them that efforts are now underway to establish a local insurance institute that will get affiliated to the Chartered Insurance Institute of Great Britain. The High Commissioner of Nigeria to Sierra Leone, Abis Ibrahim Obada, during his goodwill message, said insurance has always been one of the strong financial pillars of developed economies, playing a major role as protector of assets, employer of labor, and fulcrum of economic development, innovation, and advancement.
And now for news around the African continent. It is the last day of campaigning for legislative elections in Benin, where voters will head to the polls on Sunday. But the process has been marred with controversy as no opposition party will be on the ballot. The Electoral Commission blocked 5 opposition parties from taking part in Sunday's polls on a technicality. The 2 parties that met the criteria are loyal to President Patrice Talon, who has been in power since 2016. The opposition had held demonstrations in the city of Cotonou, which have featured 2 former presidents. There are fears that with no opposition parties in parliament, the country's democracy would be weakened. The World Meteorological Organization, WMO, says it is unprecedented for 2 tropical cyclones of such intensity to have struck Mozambique in the same season. The UN body describes the current cyclone season in the southwest Indian Ocean as exceptionally intense, with 15 storms and 9 intense cyclones. The WMO has sent a team to Mozambique to look at the country's preparedness for such extreme weather, and it says discussions with the authorities are likely to look at how the country has been affected by climate change and rising sea levels. Officials in northern Mozambique are assessing the damage caused by Cyclone Kenneth. Just last month, another cyclone, Ida, left hundreds of thousands of Mozambicans homeless. And Sudanese protesters have performed the weekly Muslim prayers outside army headquarters a day after vast crowds of demonstrators flooded Khartoum to demand the military rulers cede power. Thousands gathered for the prayers on Thursday. Thousands of protesters filled the streets of Khartoum, calling for an end to the country's military council. Many had traveled in form across Sudan to take part in the million-strong march for civilian rule. A mass sit-in outside the military headquarters has been taking place since 6th April. The protesters were demanding the president stand down and the military take over. 5 days later, President Umar al-Bashir was overthrown and replaced by a military council. But this wasn't enough for the protesters, who were still demanding that the military hand over power to a civilian administration. And now for entertainment, on 27th April 1961, Sierra Leone became an independent nation. In terms of entertainment, the country has produced numerous talents. Well, Millicent Lunge took a look into this.
On the 27th of April 1961, Sierra Leone became an independent nation. As the country celebrates its 58th independence anniversary, one want to wonder what the country has benefited so far in the past 58 years in terms of infrastructure, business, tourism, culture, and entertainment. In terms of entertainment, the country has produced numerous talented people in drama, modeling, poetry, dancing, traditional performances, and singing. The National Dance Troupe, for one, has achieved accolades for the country internationally. Drama groups like Tabule, Ronco, and Kailondo Theatre had done a lot in expressing their skills on stage performances. Writers and composers like the late Clifford Nelson File and John Hakar did their best, especially in writing and composing the national anthem. Also, the late physical challenge composer Samuel Campbell, former headmaster of the Miltimagai School for the Blind, composed the national pledge, which helps to remind citizens to be law-abiding and exercise love for our beloved country.
And come tomorrow night.
Musicians like the late Ebenezer Calendar, Big Fire, S.E. Goji, Salia Koroma, to name but a few, did their best in creating space for musicians like Jimmy B, Steady Bongo, Emerson, and more to follow their footsteps in order to boost up the entertainment industry. As the country is now 58 years old after independence, one want to ask, has the country achieved any accolade in the entertainment industry? This was the question posed to some citizens to give their views on how the entertainment industry is now in the country after 58 years of independence.
Anyway, currently we haven't seen much. Look at basically, I say, it's a way to give messages, I mean, either to the government, to the common people, about things that we know. Also good.
I see that the entertainment industry is trying to pick up. We just finished the Housemate, and they have other programs they want to come up with. They're trying. It's slowly beginning to pick up.
The industry of musical or entertainment is concerned, we have moved and forward. We are far back. When you compare us to Ghana, Nigeria, and the other countries, we are way back.
I think the industry is doing really good, especially for the past 1 or 2 years. I can see some amount of improvement. Like I think we had this Big Sister show, and we have this Housemates. I'm seeing few new artists coming up. I'm seeing movies. I'm seeing comedians doing their shows. I think we had one a few weeks ago, Kindo Amani a few days ago. We had Richie Obama. And I can see a lot of potential in the industry, and I believe with this improvement that we see, I can see a lot of prospects, and I believe in the next few years we'll get to the peak in which we all want to see.
Well, the entertainment industry have grown very, very much, and see, we have more stand-up comedians, not only those that do that chalk thing. Now we have people that do it properly and still do proper comedy. We also compliment those who are doing the chalk thing.
And now for sports. The Sierra Leone Premier League Board has ended a one-day roundtable discussion with referees in the country. The discussion was to engage referees on their conduct and officiating matches in the Premier League. The event took place at the Sierra Leone Football Association Academy in Freetown. Here's the report.
3 months ago, the start of the Sierra Leone Premier League after so many years brought so much anxiety in the country as it has created job opportunities for people. Amidst the euphoria of the successful Premier League, there were so many challenges during the first leg of the league. Poor officiating from the referees was highlighted during some Premier matches. The second round is expected to commence on the 1st of May, and therefore these elite referees have been cautioned on the need to uphold their integrity as the league resumes. Referees manager at the Sierra Leone Football Association, Mohammed Freeman, said they reduced on the number of referees that will be officiating in the second leg of the match as a way of curtailing the misconduct of some of them and for some to be grounded with the laws.
We cut down the number based on performance, and we want to see quality refereeing in the Sierra Leone Premier League, and we want to keep the beauty of the game. That's why we brought 44 male referees and 4 female referees to bring them forth and teach them the laws of the game again and refresh their memories and teach them about the new amendment of the laws of the game for which will commence on the 1st of June 2019. Also, we brought in the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of National Security to help us work on the integrity of refereeing and match manipulation, which we got some information about teams manipulating the game.
Deputy Director of Public and Outreach Affairs at the Anti-Corruption Commission, Alassane Kagbo, said the Anti-Corruption Commission was set up to combat all forms of corruption practices in the country, noting that the referees are the custodians of the matches. He called on them to deviate from all forms of malpractice. Esther Maisamwa, SLBC.
Sports news are come so close, but before we go quick at the top stories. Juma prayers have been held at State House in commemoration of the 58th Independence celebration. PKF Mason Hill Sierra Leone has held a session to discuss issues of economic empowerment for women. And Bolore Transport and Logistics has updated the media on its port expansion at the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. Well, that's all in this edition of News Hour. Thanks for your time. I'm Alice Moima Thompson. Good night.